So yes, all of these things that you guys have listed that we use water for, what if I told you that this is the same exact water that dinosaurs used to swim in, used to drink millions of years ago? Would you believe me? I hope you would believe me, because I would never tell you a story. Maybe not. How is that possible? How is this water that we used to cook with, that we used to bathe in, that we used to cool down our cars, that we used to put out fires, how is it that the same water is the water that dinosaurs swam and drank? You're drinking the same water that dinosaurs drank. How is that even possible? All right, I'm seeing some hands. Okay, Mackenzie said she thought the water would have evaporated by now. Okay. Ooh, I like that word, evaporated. All right. Genesis, what do you think? I'm going to add that word over here. I like that word, evaporated.
Evaporation.
Oh, you said evaporation too, okay. Can y'all see the red on the blue, or should I use a different color? Can y'all see that?
We can see it.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Cullen, how is this possible?
How it's possible is because water, when it evaporates, it always turns back. It would just come back down. So it's an endless cycle that never stops. So that's how it happens. Plus, the ocean has a lot of water in it. So when the big meteor came and destroyed it, they would eat the dinosaurs that would be swimming. We go out in the ocean, and we would be in their water still.
All right. So I pulled out a couple of things that you said. You said a lot, which is incredible. But I pulled out a couple of the highlights. That there is an endless cycle, and that the ocean has a lot of water in it. Samira, can you elaborate? How is this possible?
It goes from a cycle of 3, and then one like from the sun, it heats up and it evaporates up, and it forms into a cloud. And then the cloud, when it gets so heavy with evaporation, then it starts to get heavy and then rains again.
Oh, you know what? I think you have heard my favorite song. And we're going to sing it here in just a little bit. But yes, so the sun heats up the water. It causes it to evaporate. And then she said that a cloud is formed. And then she knows that a cloud gets heavy or the cloud gets full. And what happens?
And then when it gets so heavy with little drops of rain, it starts to pour.
Okay, so then we know that it rains. Man, you guys know a lot so far about how this water is reused year after year after year after year for millions of years. Genesis, how is this possible? Tell me what you know.
So I know it's possible because, let me get my voice right. Anyways, I know it's possible because, like, a long time ago, they used to have water that was different, but I think the water is cleaned now and it's like new water, I guess. Like.
Okay, I do like that you said that the water is clean somehow.
They sanitized it.
Okay, so the water has been sanitized somehow. So we need to keep that in mind. We'll talk about that some as we continue our studies through the water cycle. Cullen, can you add anything else?
I was going to add some stuff to my thing, and we still have restored creatures because sharks, birds, and lizards, snakes, and other animals are prehistoric because their evolution cycle started from when they were dinosaurs. And for sharks, it would be, I don't know. That's
okay.
All I know.
All right, so you're sharing more of that science knowledge with me. I love it. Excellent. All right, guys. So now I'm going to save this. We're going to come back to this. Anybody else? Can you add anything else to the chat? Oh, Fumi said it, the water cycle. I think I said it just now. Okay. So yes, all of this that you guys have talked about is part of the water cycle. Fumi named that for us. Excellent. All right. So I'm going to save this. We're going to come back to this at a later time. But for now, it is time for my favorite Go Noodle, the water cycle Go Noodle. All right, guys, if you know the song and the dance, you can participate with me. You can't let me have all the fun. Here we go. Just kidding. Y'all know it never lets me do it the first time. We always have to try it a second time. Here we go.
That happens to me.
Water cycle. Get out your seats. Getting kind of thirsty in here.
Water cycle.
Round and round, water cycle. Water cycle. Come on, y'all get down with the water cycle. Here we go. Precipitation, water falls down. Accumulation, water gathers all around. Evaporation, water rises from the ground. Transpiration,
Plants let the water out.
condensation, water turns into a cloud. The cloud gets heavy, the water cycle just keeps going round. Precipitation, water falls down. Accumulation, water gathers all around. Evaporation,
Water rises from the ground. Transpiration, plants let the water out. Condensation, water turns into a cloud.
It's heavy, it just keeps going round. Oh, that's how it goes back.
It's never ending.
Water cycle.
Round and round and round goes the water cycle. Water cycle. Come on, y'all get down with the water cycle.
Precipitation,
Rain, sleet, hail, snow. Oh!
accumulations,
Rivers,
oceans, and the ground, you know. Evaporation,
steam rising from
the sky. I know. Transpiration,
flowers and leaves and stems. Sweat the water out.
Condensation, drops of air on the side of your glass is when water turns to a liquid from a gas. Yeah.
Water cycle. Round and round and round goes the water cycle. Water cycle. Come on, y'all get down with the water cycle.
On long time.
Precipitation, water falls down.
Accumulation,
Water gathers all around.
evaporation, water rises from the ground. Transpiration,
Plants let the water out.
condensation,
Water turns into a cloud.
The cloud gets heavy, what happens, you know?
It just keeps going around and around and around and around.
Okay, we get it. Water cycle. Round and round goes the water cycle. Water cycle. Come on, y'all get down with the water cycle. Woo. Yeah. What's up, Mr. Catman? I'm a little teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle, and here is my spout. Now.
And you let him in, didn't you? Oh, yeah, I let him in. That was me.
All right, my friends. So that's my favorite song. So I hope that you loved it. I saw that Jamari and Cullen absolutely loved it. Maeve loved it. Oh my goodness. All right, guys. So the water cycle is probably one of the funnest things that we learn about. Just kidding. All of science is fun. But this Go Noodle. All right, so we do have a video that we are going to watch today. And please remember that we are using the chat for things that are related to our lesson. If you have any questions or comments, okay? So remember, we're gonna focus now. It's okay, we'll definitely do the water cycle Go Noodle again. So you don't wanna miss science for that. And don't forget, we're about 5 minutes away from unveiling the code word. So here we go. We're going to watch this video really quickly. While we're watching the video, I want you to think about this question. How does the sun's energy impact the processes of the water cycle? When you think you know the answer to that, comment to me privately in the chat. Okay? You should not be commenting in the chat unless you are commenting the answer that I'm looking for. All right. Whoop, whoop, here we go. Remember, how does the sun's energy impact the processes of the water cycle? Ha! Just kidding. Try it again. My boy loves me.
This is a glass of water, and it's been on a long, long trip. I'm serious. It didn't pack any bags or take any selfies along the way, but this water has been around the world many, many times. Think I'm crazy? I'm not. This water is part of a long worldwide system called the water cycle. The water cycle explains the way water moves on, above, and below the earth. And it's huge. It includes every giant glacier and every tiny little puddle. It includes the water at the bottom of the ocean and the water in the clouds in the sky. As you know, water is matter. And we've learned that matter can change states. It can be a solid, a liquid, or a gas. For water, that means it can be ice, liquid water, or water vapor. And as all of this water, which makes up the hydrosphere, winds its way around the world, it interacts with the other three spheres. It starts, as many things do, with the sun. Hey, buddy. As the sun sends its energy down to the earth, the surface of the oceans and lakes are heated until some of the liquid water turns into a gas, water vapor. This process is called evaporation. Have you ever dried off in the hot sun after a dip in the pool? If you have, you've experienced evaporation. After the water evaporates, the water vapor rises higher and higher into the atmosphere. As it goes up, it starts to cool, which makes a lot of sense. You've probably noticed that the tops of tall mountains are cold and snowy, sometimes even in the summer. So as the water vapor rises, it eventually gets cooler and starts to turn into liquid. This is called condensation. All those little water molecules start sticking together, along with the particles of dust and other tiny bits of stuff, turning into a mass of small drops of condensed water that we call clouds. And when it's all snuggled up in the clouds, water can do some serious traveling, because wind and other air currents can push clouds over long distances. So the water in the clouds above you may have originally been picked up over a faraway ocean. Now, if enough water particles in a cloud stick together, then the water will fall out. And when it does, it's called precipitation. It takes millions of cloud droplets to produce just one raindrop. If the clouds are cold enough, they can form other kinds of precipitation too. Ice crystals can form in the clouds, for example, growing bigger and heavier until they fall in the form of snow, sleet, or hail. No matter what form it takes though, once the water falls, it can go in a couple of different routes. Some of the water will hit the ground and run towards streams and rivers, where it will eventually join the ocean. Some of it will soak into the ground through tiny pores in the soil. This water can collect and hang out underground for years until it slowly moves into the sea. Or it can be pumped up to be used as drinking water. And some of that water that rained down will also quickly be evaporated again. This whole process, evaporation, condensation, and precipitation, is repeated over and over, moving water all around the world and powering weather events. We have the water cycle to thank for hurricanes, blizzards, and that rainstorm that caught me outside without an umbrella the other day. But you can also watch the water cycle happen in your own kitchen. Let's investigate. First, pour hot water into a clear bowl, then cover it with plastic wrap and place a few ice cubes on top. In this experiment, the hot water is water that has been heated by the sun, and the wrap with the ice cubes is the cool atmosphere. Molecules in the hot water rise in the form of water vapor. Once they hit the cool atmosphere, which is our plastic wrap, you can see the molecules condense on the underside of the wrap into drops of liquid water. Once there's enough condensation, water droplets will fall back into the bowl.
What? Oh my gosh, I got too close to my board. Oh, crying face.
This is a glass of water.
Oh my gosh. Seriously, guys, I'm so sorry. This did not happen earlier.
This is a...
Meow.
You've just created a tiny, adorable water cycle all on your own. Let's cycle back and review what we've learned. Energy from the sun powers the water cycle, a process that moves water around the globe through evaporation as the water rises, condensation as it forms into clouds, and precipitation as it falls back down in the form of rain, snow, sleet, or hail. Water moves through the system over and over again, changing forms and visiting every corner of the earth. I bet you've got a whole new respect for this glass of water, huh?
All right. What just happened? I got too close to my board. Stop the video. Okay. So, how does the sun's energy impact the processes of the water cycle? Who can tell me? Genesis?
It uses energy to highlight the water. Like when it every time I'm at the beach, it's like the sun is always in the water.
Okay. Yes. Would someone else like to build upon what Genesis said? Samira?
Is it evaporation?
Okay. So I need more than just a word. So how does the sun's energy impact processes of the water cycle? Evaporation. I need to know more. Tell me more.
So you want me to tell you more?
Yeah, you can tell me more.
Okay, so the sun uses energy from oh my gosh, I keep messing up. I don't know what I was gonna say. The sun uses energy to it uses energy to use energy. I don't know.
Okay, yes. So you are right on the right track. I think you're just getting. Send it to me in the chat if you can think like when the spotlight is not on you. But yes, the energy from the sun uses its energy to radiate down on the water that has accumulated while the gutter's all around. The water that has accumulated, and then it evaporates it. So the sun radiates its thermal energy down on accumulated water, could be in the ocean. That is where most of our water is stored. 97% of Earth's water is in the oceans. So most of our evaporation occurs in the oceans, which is why I saved, somebody said that there was a lot of water in the oceans, or maybe that was in my last class. But I wrote that really big because it's very important. That's where most of the evaporation occurs on a daily basis. But then you do get some evaporation from puddles, like after it rains, from lakes, rivers, and streams, as well as ponds. Just like the concrete, like anywhere that water has accumulated after it rains, water evaporates there as well. So, yes, the sun's energy impacts the processes of the water cycle because it starts the water cycle. Without the sun, there is no water cycle. Without a source of thermal energy, there is no water cycle. Okay? So, the sun heats the water and turns it to water vapor, and the water evaporates. So, one of the things I want to share with you guys is how to remember that when evaporation is occurring, water vapor is there. So let's look at the word, oh gracious, I did not mean to do that. I don't know how to get back. Where do I go? What do I do? I'm gonna go home. And then I'm gonna go back to there. There we go. Okay. So one of the things I'm gonna share with you guys is the word evaporation. All right. And a way to remember that water vapor is the form of water that is present during that process of the water cycle is because vapor is actually in the word. It is evaporation. Okay, so that's how we are going to remember that water vapor is what is present during the evaporation process. So the sun shines down on the water and causes it to evaporate or evaporate. Don't pronounce it incorrectly like me. Okay. All right. So it's now time for your assignment, and I just gave you your code word. It was on the board. But for the, and just so you guys know, you get 3 attempts to enter this code word. Without the sun, evaporation is not possible and the water cycle ceases to exist. Evaporation is your word for today. Please make sure that you note that this E is lowercase, okay? I can go in and fix it if you have a capital E, but your keyword is evaporation today. Evaporation. All right. If you all do not have any questions or comments, or you don't need me for anything, you are free to go. Make sure you complete your assignment. Code word, evaporation. Fumi, do you have a question?
Bye.
Bye. Bye, guys. Questions, anyone? Asia, go ahead.